The people that are in control, what you call the powers that be, are basically a conglomeration of all the various sects and orders that have existed throughout the ages. They basically have virtually unlimited funding and political power. What the recent tech they've been working on, what they've gotten up to this far is they call it the soul stealer technology, the soul catcher. It with a 4D, four-dimensional map of the brain, they can create a holographic chip that contains all the information of a person's memories of their personality. It apparently takes a lot of multiple supercomputers and even 0-point devices that I'm not fully aware of right now. The computers run off these devices, so it's literally almost unlimited power. It's hard to understand. Apparently, if you have a few of these devices in the right alignment, you could technically just blow the whole fucking world up. You can make it disappear. They're not planning on doing that or anything like that, but this is the type of power it is, and that's what, that's why it's kind of difficult, I guess, for humanity to even come to this point, because we have to go through the process of learning how to handle our power, or we'll bring out the worst out of everything. So yeah, the DNA replication and the complete mind-brain mapping to create a chip is basically a four-dimensional map of the entire brain and central nervous system and body. And with that, they can do full-on replication cloning, where they completely recreate a human form. There's so much information to talk about with all the bad stuff that can be talked about. There's basically the events of all this technology, these progressions and advances, and basically in the I guess the 60s or 70s, the Navy figured out with these electromagnetic devices around the brain, and I don't know how far it goes into that other than that, but they figured out how to activate the DNA in the brain completely, and it unleashes full 100% capacity. They found out all the movies, if you want to go there, they found out how to really do it. What this equated to is going into a device or putting a helmet on, and your consciousness would be transferred into some type of electromagnetic waveform or something, and you basically could travel throughout space at first, and then time itself. You could travel through time in a chair. It's a trip chair or trip helmet. However, it went through phases, just like everything else will. It's weird that they call the clones Mark 1, 2, and 3, and 4, because it's just like the car or something. But I guess that's how they're breaking it down, which is mechanically. But with all the strangeness, there are a lot of good things that have happened, and I've experienced, and we're catalyzing of true awareness out of the fear and darkness, which is another sacred process altogether. So this mechanical device actually beams electromagnetic waves into your brain and allows you to, they say it unlocks your full capacity of your brain. That's why I say we're reality generators. Doing this, they weren't hallucinating. Nobody that went into it and hallucinated, and you come back and you don't know what it was. You go into another world, and it's not like in your head you have a dream, like you travel to. When the people came back, when I came back, when anybody went through there comes back, and if they made it, because the adults basically, it was harder to come back. It's harder to come back. It's the whole scrambled eggs thing. Our reports were taken as if it were extraterrestrial contact, as if it were 100%, depending on where you went and what you saw. Because you can just create any type of experience, in your mind. That's the capacity of the mind. But then if you're actually operating within the electromagnetic grid of the earth and whatever extends into and beyond that, into, what we call time, this toroid of energy that's basically swirling from every point in space, it's actual time travel. You can see, that's how basically the first effects are that you see the future of your existence, and they can tune it in to push you forward or further, and you can take over and guide it yourself. But you see the different possible realities of your existence, and this also wasn't the culmination of the type of spiritual death experience that I experienced in 2010. This was actually somewhere around 1999, and a little bit after that. And they're doing tests. I'm sure they are now. I know it's changed a lot, and I know a lot of people didn't want to continue doing it, and there's a lot of resistance because I know of at least one person that they say hasn't fully returned and came back. So, I mean, it's not scrambled eggs, but I guess he was a little bit far off worse than I was. I was pretty much dismayed over a lot of the things that happened around that time and after, including these types of damage control projects that they put the kids into that want to, I don't know, that are become like a wild card afterwards or something like that. They have to control, I guess, it's part of it, as well as that got out of control, controlling people, and it's from the elite using this technology to basically play the dark role, play the enforcer, play the oppressor, but it got out of hand because it took on so many levels of reality that you couldn't really imagine. They basically can create artificial dimensions and take people there and play out whatever type of, psychological experiment they want. And a lot of the knowledge behind this comes from the Nazis from World War II, so it's a lot of psychological experimentation, if not the genetic manipulation. It all has these type of archonic religious undertones because I guess they think and they know that that's just the easiest way to get to it. So there's at least one person that didn't fully come back from the device, but it is what they call a time travel device. It teaches you many things. You enhance your consciousness and you see that. But that's what would happen first. You would see your possibilities and whatever would happen as a result of that, which is why it's basically so dangerous, is that if you see a possibility that you don't want and you kind of enhance it and can't get out of your head, the only thing that ever happens from that is when you return, you'll take the steps to create that possibility. There's a big problem. It's almost like a fucking nightmare device at that point. And it depends on you see whatever your own consciousness is tuned to, it just enhances it. So, if you had a bad day, it wouldn't be the best thing to do to go in there. And you can see how adults going into there without proper understanding of what was going to happen would come back like they've seen horrors. And they'd probably then go and create it in their lives. It's like a magnetic attraction. Once you see it, if you base your actions off of that to try and avoid it, almost like any story involving time travel, honestly, it'll create it. You'll unwittingly, unknowingly create it. It's accidental almost, but it does happen. That was what they noticed. And again, I said in the other video, a lot of them, the soldiers would go back or go forward and see the end of the world, basically World War III. The whole 2012, all these lecturers and insiders coming out talking about stuff, that was literally that when you go, what would happen is when you go into the device and you go far enough into the future, I guess, everyone that goes that far reaches a singularity. And it's a singularity of space, time, and consciousness to the point where it is perceived by those that go into the device and see it as literally a singularization of all the things we know as existence, space, time, and consciousness. Meaning it looks like everything just becomes one big world of light. And I'm not sure if that's connected to what they saw as far as the end of the world type situation, or whether that was maybe what they were pulling out of that, or seeing that and connecting with in their own realm. But that is basically where it all went to, because in the end, that's what you would do. I mean, I wouldn't have done any of that, but that's what they instructed you to do, and that's what their line of reasoning is, that, well, we went far enough, so let's go farther, and to go to the end of time, to see to the far future, see what's going to happen. It's both the worst thing you could imagine and the greatest thing ever. All of space-time and consciousness becomes one essence. But that no one knows what that means, because no one knows if it's just the inevitable end, if it's a point of 0 point release, and our collective consciousness basically becomes immortal. But with our physical identities, no one knows what it means, but that's the mystery behind all of it. Those are a little bit of the experiments that were going on. Where at least us two now is that the control group for that, all these secret projects, they basically have this power to go around, operate in and out of time, basically teleport themselves into any location and operate and influence a person's mind. They got a little out of hand. The gang stalking is from that. The mind control extending into just the general population and celebrities is a part of that. This brings me to my other point. The whole point with Donald Marshall and the celebrities is all real. It's actually very serious. I seen the same things. The celebrities basically need help. They want to get out of this situation. The people that began this project were the elite. They used the Nazi technology. They used the science behind it to gather people, basically, that they thought they could provide themselves with a little bit of amusement with. I hate to say it like that, but they found talented individuals, these celebrities, these artists, models, whatever, and they give them this deal with all the power that you can imagine. And when, the deal is that their DNA goes into the archive and their bodies get used in a variety of ways.